Hello everyone, a very warm welcome for this special Insta Live. And I'm going to add a very special guest, Nilesh Thite. Let me add him real quick. And he's here. Hello,
Hi,
Sarji.
Ukti. How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
क्या हो रहा है? What were you doing just now?
I was just inviting you, and I have to start with a special introduction of getting you here. But before we do that, we'll wait for another minute or so everybody can join. And
Okay.
then we can go for this special episode, which is the 50th episode.
First of all, congratulations on reaching this wonderful milestone. This is your what? Golden Jubilee episode, right?
Yes, yes,
Wow.
yes.
And I'm so fortunate that I am able to join you in this episode, right?
Thank you so much. And I
So honored, so flattered.
सर क्यों खींच रहे हो?
Yeah, yeah, genuinely, I'm so honored and flattered. Come on.
Yeah,
50th
I'm so
episode. I
happy.
mean, it's been going on since when? How long has it been?
2.5 years now.
Wow, you've done this consistently for 2.5 years.
I survived.
I mean, I must congratulate you and must commend you on that. Even to do this continuously for 2.5 hours itself is a great achievement. And completing 50 episodes, I mean, that's the cherry on the top.
Yes, thank you so much. So I think it's good time for us to start. So a very warm welcome, and I'm your host Ukti Vora, as you all know, and a very warm welcome to Nerdy Optometrist. क्यों क्यों
नहीं
क्यों
नहीं
क्यों?
थोड़ा सा फ्लिप करते बहुत हो गया तुम्हारा होस्ट अब ये काम करते हैं जो वकील है ना उसको कटघरे में हम लोग खड़ा करेंगे राइट सो
Okay.
लेट्स आई वुड से डू द रोल रिवर्सल सो द इंटरव्यूअर विल बिकम इंटरव्यूई राइट
तो अच्छा मुझे हॉट
So,
सीट पे बैठना है.
so I think you have asked too many questions to too many people. So I think this is the right time that I take over, right? And I
All
become the
right.
host, and you become the guest. How's that?
That's definitely
Because
interesting.
yeah, you may be the nerd. I can claim to be the geek.
Absolutely, yes. I definitely remember our Kiko, so yes.
So yeah, so आप जिस कॉलेज में पढ़े हो उसका प्रिंसिपल तो मैं था नहीं, but still. Anyways,
But
I think there are more and more people are joining. So those who are joining, welcome guys. This is um, Nerdy Optometrist's 50th episode, and that is why it is so special. And any special episode has to be made special, and that is why we are trying to flip it a little bit on its head, and we are going to have a role reversal. And I'm going to ask questions to Ukti instead of she asking questions to anyone else. So let's hope this is fun. And if you have any questions, आपको अगर कुछ सवाल है उक्ति के लिए, so please go on and type those questions, and we'll take the interesting ones. If you have any comments, please go ahead and do that as well. We love funny comments, you know that, right? So on that note, shall we start? Ukti, are you ready?
I'm nervous, but I'm ready. Being on the hot seat, I always
Come
like
on,
to
you are a
ask
good actor.
questions.
You are a good actor. I know that. कोई nervousness नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है. तुम नाटक करते हो हमेशा. But I have some very valid questions for you, right? So शुरू करूँ? एक
Yes,
simple one. I think
absolutely.
it's just a conversation, and whatever questions I actually have in my mind, I'm going to ask you. तो सबसे पहला जो सवाल है वो बहुत obvious hai. It's a straightforward question. That what inspired you to do this? Go ahead with this nerdy optometrist. The name itself, and the entire I would say the podcast, the series of podcasts that you've been having for over 2.5 years. Kis inspiration se tumne kiya? What was the thought behind it?
So I feel the basic inspiration of 6 years back when I moved to United States, I always had this feeling कि मतलब मैं मेरा देश छोड़ के जा रही हूँ. I wanted to be in India, but I have to move here. Oh yeah, I was very much India का झंडा kind of a person. So I always wanted to do something to give it back. But initial couple of years, I was just trying to find my space in this new country. And that's when I was introduced to something called a podcast by another doctor called Maria Sampalis. And she interviewed me asking questions about optometry in India. And that's where I realized that this is a very nice platform where I can talk about optometry and how we as Indian optometrists have done so much with people being in different parts of the world.
Right.
So I did 2 episodes with her and we did one together as well. So
I
after
remember
that,
that.
I felt like, this could be a nice medium because I don't want to be in front of the camera. That's how I started initially. And isme I just have to record. So I felt this was fun. I had no clue how I'll start and what
How
I'll
it would
do.
shape up eventually, right?
Yeah. But
You never
I
thought if
thought,
you would eventually do 50 episodes and more.
no. I was like, एक साल टिक गया तो भी बहुत है kind
फिर
of
आगे
thing.
का देखते हैं, right?
Yeah. There was no like end goal or that I want to achieve this, I want to do this. There was no goal. It was just something, this is fun, let me try it out. It just
Right.
finds something where I can share my journey and many other journeys, because initially, before I started Nerdy Optometrist, there were many things in optometry in US which you find like the standard pattern on Google. But then like I have done something completely different, and I know many people
Right.
who are interviewed, they did something different in their path. So I felt, if someone wants to try something with whatever limitations they have, because optometry in India is very diverse. So what all options are there out? That's what I
Right.
wanted to document, which you can't Google. So that's how the whole podcast came up. And there was no other podcast in like by an Indian optometrist and things. So that was another thing that motivated me, starting something new.
बढ़ाई तेज
And
channel
then
है.
And the name, I would have to give that credit to my husband for sure. He wanted to start, he had heard this other podcast called Mad Feinstein, which was about someone who is mad about finance. And he wanted to do something similar for me because he felt I was mad of optometry. But I'm like, no, I can't put that out there, right? Let's make it cool.
No, let people guess that. They anyway would have guessed it. I mean, there was no need for you to hide that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we
go on,
went
go on.
with so we went with nerdy as a name. But you're right, mad is obvious. Let's not keep it that obvious.
Why make it so obvious? अच्छा है यार. 2.5 years. Wow.
Mhm.
अच्छा initiative है. In fact, I also enjoyed doing the first episode. I mean, my first episode. I don't know. Maybe one of the first few episodes
Yes.
of yours as well. I think I had a great time interacting and sharing some of the insights at that particular time. I can't believe it's been more than 2 years actually. What time है ना?
Yeah.
Good. So I can see more new faces are joining in. So hi guys who have just joined in. Good evening to you if you are in India. Good morning to you if you are somewhere in the US or nearby, California or where are you right now?
California. Yeah.
California. Oh, got it right. Cool. Good. So I have one more question for you, Ukti. Right? इतनी सारी लंबी जर्नी हो चुकी है ऑलरेडी तुम्हारी. यू ऑलमोस्ट बीन देयर फॉर 2.5 years. उसमें से यूएस में कितने साल हो तुम? कब से हो?
6 years.
6 साल से यूएस में? Really? Oh my. Anyway, so what I want to understand is, from your journey of Nerdy Optometrist, what have been the highlights? How has been your experience? मतलब कैसे रहा overall experience कैसे रहा? कोई highlights है उसमें जो you would like to share with your audience?
Absolutely. I'll share it with the audience as well as with you. Highlight, I would say, as I said, right, I started this just because kuch karna hai. That was the only agenda I had. I didn't have any
Right.
plan. But gradually, this podcast gave me an option to connect with people here in the US because nobody knows me, right? India, mein, whatever you have done is in India. Nobody knows you here. While I'm trying to approach people in the industry here to build connections and network with them, this podcast was an icebreaker. I'm
Right.
like, hi, I have this podcast. I would like to interview you. I would like to talk to you. And that helped me build a kind of space, my small space in this industry. And now people know, okay, yeah, I know you because of that podcast.
Because of
Or
the
you-
podcast. So it was a good
But
icebreaker for you, is it?
yeah, absolutely. And also it helped me in few interviews as well. Because वो जो है ना, like अच्छा तुम ये काम करते हो, but खुद के लिए क्या करते हो? The very famous जिंदगी ना मिलेगी दोबारा dialogue. So I'm like, yeah, this is so in the interview. They're like,
Hindi
"Achha, what do you
movies.
do?" Yeah. Apart from this, I have my own podcast, which is my own initiative, my thing.
जो
So
खुद
it
के
also
लिए करती
helped me. Yeah, it also helped me in putting that piece out there.
Okay.
That's what I do for myself. So that's definitely the few highlights.
Cool, man. Any episodes or any experience you remember किसी के साथ करते वक्त की कुछ noticeable था, कुछ अलग था, ऐसे कुछ?
I would say my first episode will always remain very special with Tuti, who was very kind enough, and she's a friend. And I just asked her that I'm trying to do something crazy like this. Will you be interested? I'm like, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'll record you. And she's like, yeah, let's do it. So that first yes was very
Right, of
important
course.
and special. So I would say that. And
That
then
set the ball
see,
rolling.
absolutely. And I felt every friend, like including you, Fakrudin, Chirag, whoever helped me with those initial episodes just so that I gained my confidence was really helpful. Otherwise, like, why would someone do that? It was just that whole support from the optometry community I felt was very, very special initially when I started.
ऐसा लग रहा है कोई 55-year-old से बात कर रहा हूँ. इतना तजुर्बा,
अरे
इतनी कम उम्र में इतना तजुर्बा, पता ही नहीं चल रहा. बाप रे, मुझे ही डर लग रहा है.
but
Role
I have to
reversal
say,
तुम कर रही हो actually instead of me doing that.
no. Actually, I would say one episode which was like very, very special in terms of special. Of course, each were very
Of
different.
course, yeah, all of them would be.
But one which was about stigma around glasses for women.
Okay.
I felt which was so relevant even today, really touched me in terms of to see the numbers were shocking. At the same time that how much, if we talk about AI and technology and metaverse and all those glamorous things outside, but people are still having stigma around wearing glasses, which we all face every day. But it has just become a norm. हाँ ये तो ऐसा ही है. I feel that was a very, very special episode where we were talking about how it is important to break that, and it is universal. It's not nothing to do with
Not
India.
just in India, right? It is global. Truly
Yeah, it is
global issue, it seems.
truly global issue, which I felt was one of like my closest episode, I would say.
Because, in India, generally we tend to think that maybe this is not a problem overseas. This is probably a problem specific to India, or even in India, more so in the rural areas. But as you said, it's probably much wider than that. It's not just in India or just the urban, rural area. It could be in urban areas also.
Also in our families, I'm sure all of us would have faced someone in our family saying, I have to get LASIK done because I have to get
चश्मा
married.
क्यों? हाँ, चश्मा नहीं चाहिए शादी
You know,
के
all
बाद.
those things that goes around, oh, this person has -3 number, should I get married to them? And I'm like,
I know, I understand what you're saying. And we were exactly opposite when I was around, 18, 19 years of age. I used to wear my friend's spectacles. Even I did not have the refractive error just to look smart and intelligent. I could not manage to pull that off anyway. Because when you start speaking, it gives away. So that was a futile experiment, I must say. But yeah, I know, I understand from where you're coming. So that's quite nice. Any learnings in all these years with interacting with so many people? कुछ तो सीखने को definitely मिला होगा यार.
बहुत कुछ. I would say actually मैंने start किया था ये सोच के that I'll be putting out things for people to learn, but it was completely
It's the
opposite.
other way around.
It's completely other way around. I don't think so. I was teaching anyone anything. Every episode was teaching me something much more than I thought. Starting from like, how do I host this podcast? Like, I had no idea. How do you record? Where do you record? How do you edit? Because like recording would be say 30, 40 minutes. Editing is 3-4 hours initially when I started. So I'm like, I would like hate editing, but I was forced to do it myself just so that I can learn that
You
process.
can learn, right? And you
And
don't
then
want to be
you follow.
dependent on others, no? You want to do it yourself so that even if no one is there, you can still be able to complete the episode.
Yeah, right. And also you don't have money, right? This was a very personal initiative. I can't I can't put money out of for
Can't
like
invest in that.
apps or like people's help to do all these things. So I had to do everything myself. So that was another thing. Let's do it a budget friendly thing which is sustainable.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, especially when you start, you don't have enough to invest. Maybe when it becomes successful, you can then start off growing and then investing a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what you learned. Anything else apart from these that you recall?
Learning, yeah, I think every episode did teach me something very different. Like we covered topic on technology, and I had a pleasure of talking to the clinical founder of Moho Vision, which is like the first the smart contact lens that they're building, right?
Right.
So I learned about that technology, about AI, about this whole stigma that is there. That we also talked about, like, the challenges that we face in general as women. So we did this whole episode on Women's Day, which was like so relevant that we felt that okay, you're achievers, you are like you have got it all, but everybody was facing it.
एक रिक्वेस्ट है एज ए मेंस के चैलेंजेस पे एक एपिसोड करो ना
Bilkul, bilkul. Let's do that. But the only thing is, I might not be able to relate it.
That's okay. You can still do the whole episode without being able to relate.
Perfect.
Okay,
So we'll do
I'm
that
having that
episode.
problem, because most of the times I'm interacting with ladies because in the field that I am, there are so many ladies. तो मुझे थोड़ा सा डर सा लगता है, मैं दबा दबा सा रहता हूँ, डरा डरा सा. तो हमारी भी आवाज सुनो यार.
जी बिल्कुल, we can have a special episode for you for sure.
I've given you an idea now for one more episode. Right. So yeah, I'm sure there must be a lot of learning on the way, and going forward also you will learn a lot. Uh, I think it's been some time. हमारे पास काफी लोग भी join हो रहे हैं. So why don't we just take a few seconds pause and see if there is any question from anyone. Anyone wants to ask any question or if there is any comment, please feel free, guys. This is the time. This is the time where you can ask questions to the interviewer.
An interviewee.
Hare me. So any questions anyone has? Any comments? Let me just check. I'm a little challenged technologically, but not that bad. अभी तक तो कोई question तो नहीं है, right? So I'll just give you a few seconds, guys. Meanwhile, I'll ask a stupid question to Ukti. It's been more than 6 years. You haven't picked up the accent yet. How come?
I am trying to be consciously aware about it, but I feel it's little different.
Actually, it's not a stupid question.
Actually, it's not. It's a very
solid
conscious
observation.
and it's a struggle. I would say it's an effort, but it will come. If I'm speaking to say an American,
Depends
you
on
tend to mimic.
whom you are speaking with.
Yeah, you tend to mimic. Also, I feel my husband has contributed a lot. जब भी बहुत accent आता ना, he's like, come back, you are Indian, like, stop showing things.
ये मुझे अच्छा लगा सुन के कि पति अपना काम कर रहा है और लोगों को लगता है पति कोई काम नहीं करते. So someone is saying I have posted my question already. किधर?
I think there's this one question bubble. Okay. Why optometrists are less respected in India compared to other countries? Okay, yeah.
Oh, so you want to answer that?
Yeah, I can take that. I feel it's not really that optometrists in India are respected less compared to other countries. I feel we tend to underestimate ourselves a lot more because there are very different challenges in different countries. So it's not about I feel we're stuck with this word of doctor in front of a name. That is what I think people associate it as respect. You might be a doctor here in US, but you are always under the fear of say insurance and lawsuits and things, right? So there is a different challenge which optometrists have, and they are constantly fighting, say, with ophthalmologists because they feel they're overlapping with the work space. So we might not have the doctor tag, but I feel as far as respect, I felt, well, at least when I was practicing, you can add more because, you've been there, that I don't feel respect has been a challenge for me. What do you feel?
I think it's a mixed bag. I think it all starts with ourselves. The moment we start respecting our own services, our own professionalism, our own caliber, and, our own, I would say, expertise, that's where it starts. And I think sometimes that is missing from our own community. So I think let's respect ourselves first. Let's believe in ourselves. Let's believe that we are doing a wonderful job in, treating people's eyes and giving them great vision and eventually enhancing their lifestyle. The moment we think that, I'm providing proper eye care, I'm preventing major issues, and I'm enhancing people's lifestyle, that's a much, much bigger sphere, right? The moment we start thinking like that, we start valuing ourselves more.
Absolutely.
And the moment it starts with us, right? And then how we carry ourselves, how professionally we speak to our patients, what kind of services we offer, that adds up. So I know some optometrists who are, very well respected. In fact, the ophthalmologists also, they have great relationship and rapport with them. They refer patients back to them. They are invited to speak in various forums, etc. So I don't think it is a general problem with everyone. I think it's a problem in probably pockets and few people. But the more we start respecting ourselves and start providing more services competently, the respect will automatically grow, the recognition will grow, and people will come to us saying, "मुझे optometrist के पास आना है." This is what my dream is. Every time anyone needs an eye care service, patient should walk in any, um, whether it's a hospital or optical, patient should walk in saying, "I want to meet an optometrist." जब ये होगा तब मैं शांति से रिटायर होऊंगा, नहीं पता नहीं, बट कोशिश करूंगा रिटायर होने की. Before I continue rambling, I think there's one more question, Ukti. तुम्हारा वाइवा हो रहा है शायद, किसी ने पूछा इंक्रीजिंग व्यूइंग से टीवी अफेक्ट टीवी व्यूइंग से आईसाइट अफेक्ट होगी या नहीं. आई थिंक विल टेक इट सम अदर टाइम. राइट नाउ लेट्स फोकस ऑन the topic, which is Nerdy Optometrist को 50 episode पूरे हुए हैं, and we are celebrating that, and we are just trying to understand Ukti's journey and her experiences, and if we can learn from her, if we can get inspired by her, and we can do something, not exactly this, but something else, which is kabile tareef.
Thank you.
So from learning, I have a question for you. See, इतनी सारी चीजें you did for the first time, right? Podcast, we never had an podcast dedicated to optometry. That's something you started, especially from an Indian optometrist. You never had the technical information and knowledge that you need to start a podcast. So you must have faced some challenges, some roadblocks. Did you? And if you did, what were those and how did you overcome those?
Definitely, I had no expertise. I had no idea what I was doing. So yes, that learning curve was frustrating. There was time when I'm like, I just don't want to do this. I'm done. It is too much of effort for like editing 30-minute episode for like 4 hours, along with like a full-time job that you had. So there were many moments I would say, like, hey, that's it. I think this is good. But having said that, there's always this feedback that comes from people or listeners, right? That helped me to keep going. You definitely have that technical challenges, but at the same time, there are people are always out there who you can reach out and ask for help. Like, say for creating my logo, I have to do a huge shout out to Chirag, who is an optometrist and a designer as well.
Right. I know Chirag. In fact, I was in one of the episodes, we had some off-peak career options where we had Chirag as one of the panelists. So it was great having him. And he's doing something phenomenal, like designing frames and all, which I'd never heard before.
Yeah, he is the one who designed my logo as well, just based on my description. And he was like, I reached out to him. We had never interacted. I reached out to him asking for help. Like, hey, I want to design something, and you're the only designer optometrist I know. Will you help me for it? And he did that. So you want to start things you don't know, but I feel you should just go out there and ask people, and everybody is super helpful. Of course, it should not just be transactional. You have to build relationship. Aisa nahi kaam ho gaya, then tata bye bye. It was about building a relationship, but it definitely was a teamwork, I would say. Like everybody contributed, from listeners to guests to my husband, who was my technical support.
शायद सुन रहा है वो, 2-3 बार उसका नाम आया, मतलब I'm sure he is listening to this.
He's asleep right now. It's too early for him.
Doing the right thing. Go on.
But yeah, I feel though there are definitely technical challenges, because I started with this podcast, but you always want to improve, right? It's not perfect when you start. So then I started looking at what other podcasters were doing in this space, and how do I change or upgrade that, and adding new apps, learning new apps and updating. As much as it sounds that, we are, I wouldn't say young, but it will be easy for us. It was a challenge.
मेरे सामने तो definitely you can say.
No, but I know people who are like 10 years who are much better with editing and things than I am. So I would say that there were definite technical challenges of learning new apps for each thing, but that was, I would say, the major roadblock. Everything else was much more easier than this whole technical learning.
Right. So basically, technical sorting the technical issues has been the most important challenge, and you managed to overcome with support. I like one thing that, when you reach out to people, there are definitely some good people who want to help you and who want you to succeed. I think that's a great story, because many a times, we are very skeptical in approaching people. कभी-कभी थोड़े से pessimistic हो जाते हैं हम लोग कि कोई मदद ही नहीं कर रहा, the world is so negative and so on. So in that, in the entire scheme of things, I really like that positivity that there have been people who have been very, very supportive. They helped you, and there's a great relationship and rapport going on with these people. So I really like that point, and I think those listening to this particular interaction should take away that as one of the positive and most important points. That reach out to people, and you'll be surprised with graciousness of few people, right? It was a
Yeah.
powerful
Yeah.
line,
And
I
to
must
add,
say.
they just don't connect with you. So I know I connect, like my first episode was with Ukti. She introduced me to Arijit, who is like a scientist here in US, and he has traveled like New Zealand or New Zealand, Canada as
Yeah,
well
I
as
know.
US. He has traveled multiple places. So it's not just like that one-on-one. If they enjoy it, they will do the introduction. So that it's like
Correct.
a chain effect that you just have to start with one, or it will follow.
Right.
Same with Fakruddin. I think me and Fakruddin, when he started his OLS platform, we were doing cross
OOLS.
introduction.
Double
Yeah.
OLS.
Yes. double OLS.
फखरुद्दीन है वहाँ कमेंट कर रहा है स्टाइल में आई नो ही इज देयर
Yeah. He's always there.
he has to be
He's
there
my dedicated fan. He's always there. He's
to be
been a
there then.
strong support for sure.
So एक quick question है Ukti, what has been the most fun episode for you?
Most fun episode. Huh. It's really hard to pick actually. But I think
Maybe top three.
not. Huh?
Maybe top three instead of one, if that helps
Yeah,
you.
top three, I would say one definitely has to be the one which we did about presentation skill, because we did it in two parts. We did a recording and an Insta live. That was my first
You're just
Insta
saying
live.
that because I'm here.
No, that was my first Insta live. That's why it's like memorable and it was fun. And it was like a little off topic. I would say that is the one thing. The second fun episode, I would say, it's difficult because I ended up I enjoyed all of it. But I would say even that the panel discussion that we had about like women in leadership on Women's Day, I think that was also very interesting. And I think I can pick two right now.
Okay,
I would
wonderful. I think that's good enough. I don't want to put you in a spot. और वैसे भी मेरा नाम लिया अब ठीक है हो गया मेरा काम and ये मेरे सवाल नहीं है these are questions which are coming live आपकी popularity को देख के काफी सवाल आ रहे हैं मैडम so one of them is most memorable moment in the journey if you recall any special moment.
Special is always the publishing of my first episode. I would say that was the first episode when I published it. That was, I think, the most memorable one because I didn't know how it will turn. Of course, that's the most awful one as well. If I listen to it, it's like super scripted. But that is.
Anyway.
No, I think I learned a lot. I'm like, oh my God, people are listening to this. But that's, of course, like my most special memory.
Yeah, I think first is always special, right? Good. So, एक सवाल है, another straightforward question again to you, which is your educational journey. So, what is your educational journey?
So yeah, I started my optometry in India. So I did my bachelor's and master's in India, and then I moved to United States where I did my MBA, and that has been like my educational journey from my master's in optometry to master's in business administration.
So she's a master's in optometry and her bachelor's and master's both in from India and MBA in the US.
Yes.
बस नहीं है और भी कुछ है formal education of course.
नहीं एकदम basic.
एक amazing सवाल है how important is it to travel globally?
It all depends on if you are an explorer. Of course, I feel individually everybody should travel globally because it gives you a lot of exposure. But in terms of connections and contacts, you don't really have to travel. That can happen now in the digital space. I have collaborated with people in Malaysia. I would say Fakruddin. I know Mariki, who is in South Africa. And I have all these people back in India. So, you don't have to travel to build relation, but traveling is always good.
Amazing. Whoever has asked that question, I'm sorry I missed the name of the person who asked. But if you ask me, traveling is amazing. You must travel. You must travel. Given a chance, the first chance you get, start traveling.
And not as a tourist, travel as a traveler.
Yeah, travel as a... like just one second, I'm getting distracted because of a couple of questions coming in. Educational background of nerd. I think we just mentioned that.
Yeah.
I told that. And coming back to traveling, it's amazing. the more you travel, the more you learn, not just about optometry, but about life, about different people, different cultures, different nationalities, why a particular person or why a particular group of people behave in a particular way. You understand that when you travel. So
Yeah,
you become more empathetic and more inclusive towards people when you start traveling. So just to
absolutely.
add a little bit to that point, right? किसी ने मेरा एजुकेशनल जर्नी पूछा, डर लगता है यार ऐसे सवाल में. Actually, I am 12th fail. Yeah, so I'm also just a B Optom and M Optom. I've completed my B Optom and M Optom from Bharati Vidyapeeth School of Optometry, and before that, I had done a diploma in optometry from a school in Pune called as Jnana Prabodhini School of Optometry. Yeah, so again, not so much about me. The focus is on the nerdy optometrist. So, just a couple of more questions I have for you. Okay, I think we have time, right? Yeah, we have a few minutes. So,
Sure.
one of them is now, suppose there must be someone listening to your podcast and must be getting inspired. And that person thinks, wow, this sounds interesting, exciting. I want to start something, not exactly like this, or something similar. Any tips, anything you want to share with them, any insights?
One very important thing is start. That's the one word that I
Start.
would tell people. Start. No stars are going to align. There'll be no perfect moment.
There's no perfect
But
start. Time to start.
yeah, there is no perfect time to start.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, it you can start and you can always make it better. So it's not like the ultimate thing कि एक बार हो गया, then there is like no coming back. You can always start and keep improving and enhancing.
Right.
So just start whatever you want to do, whether it's a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a blog, whether it's anything that you feel you want to enjoy, just do that and be honest to it. I feel that that's very important. If you do that, you'll survive.
Okay. G. Now, we'll start now. Any tips on the technical aspect of that, like the what apps can help, what technical support you need to begin with? I mean, see, once you get into it, you realize that ye mujhe aata nahi, or I need this support and so on. And to begin with, you want to share something which someone has to be prepared with, or the apps that helped you probably.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel specifically for podcasting is where I can say, I've been doing it. So I use a website called Buzzsprout, which is specifically designed
Sorry,
for
I didn't get you.
Buzzsprout.
BUZZ, is it Buzz?
Yeah, BUZZSPROUT. It's
Okay.
called Buzzsprout. It is specifically dedicated for like podcasters. It's a
Okay.
very simple app. If you it's of course a paid subscription. You have to pay to
Right.
launch your podcast there, but that gives you access to all
So
the
it's not
platforms.
exorbitant, right? The cost is not.
No. It's
It's reasonable.
$12. It's
Okay, quite
$12.
reasonable. Quite reasonable.
Yeah, it's quite reasonable. But if you like host your podcast on say Buzzsprout, that's what I used. Of course, there are many others, but if you host it there, you just have to publish your episode on that platform, and then it is available on every like streaming platform like Spotify, Amazon, Google, Apple. So एक ही जगह पे डालना है and then it will be distributed everywhere. So you don't have to really worry about,
हर जगह करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती.
you don't have to upload anywhere. You
Oh,
just
okay.
upload it one place and it gets distributed everywhere. Plus, it gives you a simple website as well. So if someone just wants to go there and review it, it's very basic, but it like a sound music player kind of a look, but it's there. So that will be done.
So very convenient, I would say.
Very convenient. Other most important thing is whatever name you decide, make sure you get the domain for it because that will be very important.
You block it immediately.
Yeah, block it immediately because you might start with something and if it's not available, if you have to tweak or anything, do it before you start. You don't want to have have your Gmail account, have your website name, everything, like get
Right.
all those things sorted first thing so you can continue using that. And for recording specifically, I use Zoom. I started with another website initially called Zencaster, but you don't need that. I think Zoom works
Good
fantastic.
enough.
So like now I just use Zoom to record, and it has the option to have both audio video recording. So you can
Right.
have like separate and everything, right? So you can just have it on Zoom and everybody's comfortable with that. So less headache and like
So the world is using it now.
yeah, the world is using it. So I would say in terms of those are the apps that I use. Of course, there are several video editing apps available. So video editing is, of course, whatever you're comfortable with. So yeah, that's pretty much like what you need to start. Like you
I just
literally
hope
need
that
like
people are listening to this. I mean, those who are interested in doing something of their own are listening to this, and maybe these things are going to be helpful to them, right? Do
yeah.
you? I mean, is this everything by yourself on your own, or you also have sponsors? And if at all you have, is it easy to get them on board, or is it a challenge?
So now I'm blessed and I'm lucky to have a couple of sponsors for the last few
Good.
months. But yeah, initially it's all like self-sufficient, like self-paid kind of a thing. And also you are with sponsors comes a lot of responsibility as well because there's a money
Hmm.
attached, right? So first you have to be comfortable in what you're doing. You
Hmm.
have to build in that network, and you have to be comfortable before you involve any money
Right.
in that
True.
space.
True.
And also sometimes money can be overwhelming if it comes initially because it will take away the fun out of it. So I
Hmm.
consciously wanted to just do podcasting for the first year and a half and then think about the next step. Like if I'm not even sure if I'm going to sustain or survive, right? Why will I want to have these all
True.
paid partnerships and things? So first thing is like you enjoy the process because this whole social media and thing, it is definitely overwhelming. And it's also like numbers game and followers game. फिर उसमें once you start going into that circle,
Yeah.
it's it's very stressful. So first just enjoy what you're doing and then sponsors will follow.
Mate. ना ज्ञान है आपके पास.
And they've gone through it.
Yeah, no, I think it's amazing. I mean, it's just amazing to listen to all this. And within a couple of years, you have so much experience to share with everyone. So it's like, the essence of the last 2.5 years and the essence of 50 podcasts in half an hour. So only a fool will miss this.
I would actually also want to add this. Don't fear of the answer no. Everybody is not going to say yes. Whether
Yeah,
it's a sponsor or whether it's a guest, they will say no, which is fine. Like don't go with an expectation. You will hear 10 no's, but you're looking for just one yes. So that I think that should be your focus.
right. And when you get the first yes, that boosts your confidence, right? The moment you get the first yes, then you know that it is doable, it is possible. And now the next step, it becomes a little easier once you get the first yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Getting that first sponsor took me a couple of months to get the first sponsor.
Right.
But then it followed. So
Absolutely. And
it's
even for the
always
first sponsor, it's difficult for them to be the first one, right? If someone is already sponsoring the second one, for that person or for that organization, it's easier because someone has already done it. So
correct.
it's trusted and tried, right? So it's easier for them also the second time around.
Yes.
Cool, man. And so this will continue, right? The podcasting.
Yes,
So you've
absolutely.
done 50 runs today. You've scored a 50 today. Fakrudin was saying not out 50. So maybe we'll head towards the century.
Yes.
So
Fingers
apart,
crossed.
yeah, no, I'm sure you will. इतने अच्छे अच्छे लोग हैं. There are so many people who will help you, who want to see you succeed. So of course, they will push you to do that, and your own drive and passion also, right? But apart from podcasting, anything else? Anything new coming up? Any exciting stuff you're doing?
Yeah, so I actually, with this whole, the technical challenges and things you mentioned, right? I finally was able to work on a new website, which I'll be launching tomorrow.
Ooh,
It's in a transition mode right now, so it will be live tomorrow. So that was another big thing of like setting up a new website, which I'm super excited about. So I really wish everybody could like go and visit that website and see if you would like to add some comments and share what your feedback was. I would like to hear that for sure.
I'm sure they will. So what is the URL? What is?
It's www.nerdyoptometrist.com.
Okay, straightforward.
Straightforward. It's also in my link. If you're following me, I have that entire link on my bio. But yeah, it's just the same thing. Just search Nerdy Optometrist. I think you'll just find one.
बस है काफी एक ही.
But I think one is more than
More
enough.
than enough. बस है बस. Cool, man. So I think a lot of new things coming up. Like, so your podcasting will continue. Then you have a new website also getting launched, and then you have more and more. Probably going forward, you'll have more and more sponsors, so you can also, make it bigger.
Hopefully,
And
yeah. I would actually like to even thank the sponsors who are there today for supporting, because it's always difficult to find someone in this
Yeah.
chaotic social media space, because there's so many, right? Like, why would they choose me? But because they believe
the word
that-
they use is clutter. There's too much clutter.
there is. But then there's still space for everyone. So just if you want to do something, just do it.
Yeah. Good. So if you want to do it, just do it.
Yes.
Lovely. So let me see if there are any more comments or questions coming in. We have a few people who joined right now also, but let's quickly have a look. So there are a lot of people who are wishing you good luck for your
Thank
future, as well
you
as
so much.
congratulating you for your half century. I'm sure there will be 100th episode also, maybe within a couple of years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe sooner. I hope we could like reach
Maybe
there.
sooner than, yeah. This took what, 2.5 years? Next 50 should take 1.5 years.
Hopefully.
And maybe we'll have more sponsors, and the base would be wider than this.
Yeah.
Good. So I'll just give a few seconds to people who are listening, and if they want to comment or if they want to ask a question, just a few seconds. But meanwhile, I think this was amazing catching up and just understanding what you've gone through and your own journey in this new field, completely different venture. For me also, there's quite a lot of learning in this.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you for putting me in the hot seat and taking in charge.
That's where you belong. That's where you belong.
Feels like Viva
again. That's all yours. Okay. So if there are not any, I don't think there are any more comments coming in. So Ukti, from my side, finally, I just want to wish you all the very best. Having seen you right from the iClip days.
Yeah.
It's, I think, around 8 years ago. Been around that.
Yeah. Maybe more than
ago.
that. Yeah.
Right. So around 8-9 years ago, and seeing you through, and now at this level where you have your own podcast channel and you're doing so well, establishing yourself in a completely different country and still connected with the Indian optometrists as well as the optometrists across the world. It's quite heartening to see, and I feel proud of being associated with you as well. So congratulations on your 50th. I wish there would be 100th, there would be double century, triple century. You'll just go on, and not just podcasts, but even other things which are related to optometry as well as overall related to life more than optometry. So congratulations, all the best. Take good care of yourself, and good morning. And your day has started just now.
Yes,
While we are just ending our day now.
Thank you so much, everyone who joined this session and who have been supporting Nerdy Optometrist, I would say, from day one. So really appreciate it. I just saw Rizwana ma'am join in. So yes, hi nerd. Of course, she's one of the world famous nerds herself. So glad that she joined. Rizwana ma'am, she just joined.
You joined a little too early. Maybe 5 minutes later would be the right time.
But yeah, thank you so much once again for all the support, and I do continue supporting Nerdy Optometrist. I think that's what I would like to ask you.
Adios. All the best.
Adios.
Take care, guys,
Bye-bye.
and have fun.